And you saw some of the long lines last night. Hawaii has its second highest turnout for an election, but that strong turnout for this presidential election cycle has come with some problems. And our Paul Drews shows us what happened at the ballot box.
Election workers are still busy the day after this general election, processing the last batch of ballots from across Oahu.
Approximately 18,000 ballots, so this will be the election day final.
These were the ballots that were deposited in drop-off boxes before the election night deadline. Those signatures had to be verified before the votes were sent to the state capitol to be counted. The vast majority of ballots were received by drop box or mail.
Roughly 8% was in-person voting as opposed to 92% mail.
With such a small percentage of in-person voting, why did residents on Oahu have to wait so long at voter service centers on Election Day?
It's 5 hours. 5 hours. We came was daylight. We left was nighttime. Past my dinner time. It's so frustrating.
On Oahu, 8,000 voters cast their ballots in person on Election Day. Elections personnel tell me the same-day voter registration added to the slowdown. Kapolei Hale was only able to process about 200 people per hour, while Honolulu Hale could handle more, 300 voters an hour, because it was able to expand its voter service center.
The entire courtyard was filled with voting booths, so we went from like 30 voting booths up to 50. Kapolei is really hard because we were in those 3 conference rooms and we can't really push out the way we did in Honolulu Hale.
While some call for more voter service centers on Election Day, more sites may not be able to help with the backlog.
So there's no way of balancing who votes at a voter service center. So you could have 20 of them, but if one of them is more popular, it's still going to hold up the results.
Which is why voters have been encouraged to mail in their ballots or cast them early before Election Day. But that bothers some Hawaii voters who instead want to cast their ballots in person on Election Day.
What they're trying to do is squeeze out in-person voting altogether. They don't want that.
State and county officials will now have to decide what or if any changes will be made for Hawaii voters before the next expected big election, the presidential election of 2028. Paul Drews, Island News.